All right, today we're diving into a pretty intense local dispute happening in a Pennsylvania suburb. What you're about to hear is pieced together entirely from a collection of public documents. We're talking emails, legal papers, and campaign websites that tell the story of one citizen's fight with his local government.
So yeah, that's a pretty heavy statement to kick things off with, right? It's from a podcast that's part of this citizens campaign, and it really sets the stage. It frames this whole thing as a determined and often really frustrating battle for justice.
So where does all this take place? We're talking about Whitpain Township, Pennsylvania. It's here that a public advocacy campaign, using websites and social media, has started making some very serious claims against local officials. So the campaign throws out some really big accusations. A history of cover-ups, discrimination, you name it. But to really get what's going on, you have to rewind a bit to the one single event that kicked this whole thing off.
Believe it or not, this entire firestorm starts with a single crime, a home invasion and robbery at the house of a man named Dr. Scott Testa. Okay, now the timeline here is absolutely crucial. The documents really hammer this point home again and again. This was not some random break-in. It happened just 2 days after the homeowners told police they were getting direct and pretty scary threats.
Here's one of the actual messages from the case file. It was allegedly sent by someone connected to a person living at the property. The campaign uses this as, like, Exhibit A, that this was all planned out ahead of time.
And then there's this one. Chilling, right? You can just feel the tension. They reported feeling like something bad was coming, and just 48 hours later, boom, their house is robbed.
And this wasn't just a minor thing. We're talking about a real, tangible loss here. Over $30,000. That number, it's pulled right from an itemized list in the documents. It covers everything from thousands in repairs to irreplaceable stuff like wedding rings. So after the robbery, you'd expect a straightforward investigation, right? Well, according to the documents, that's not what happened. Dr. Testa started this long and apparently very frustrating journey trying to get answers from the local police and town officials.
And this email he sent to his lawyer really sums up a lot of that frustration. He's basically saying, hey, the police are telling me one thing, but when I follow up, it's like nobody has a clue what I'm talking about. It points to this total breakdown in communication, at least from his perspective.
So what do you do when you're not getting answers? You file an official request, right? Dr. Testa tried to get a copy of the police report for his own case, and this is what he got back. Denied. The reason? It's part of an ongoing criminal investigation. You can imagine, reading his emails, this just made things even more frustrating for him.
And you can see in the documents, he didn't just give up. There's this crystal clear paper trail showing how he kept pushing. He starts with the investigating detective. Feels like he gets nowhere. So he goes to the lieutenants, then the police chief and the township manager. And finally, he's sending certified letters to the people at the very top, the elected board of supervisors.
Now this is where the story gets bigger. The campaign materials argue that what happened to Dr. Testa wasn't just a one-off thing. They try to connect the dots and say, look, there's a pattern here. So that's really the big question they're asking. Is this an isolated incident? And to make their case that the answer is no, they bring up other people, other stories, folks who they claim faced similar struggles with the authorities in Whitpain.
So they put together this list, citing these other contentious cases, to basically say, see, it's not just Dr. Testa. They're trying to build a case that this is part of a larger, systemic problem with accountability in the township.
Okay, so as things got more and more heated, the campaign started to aim its attention higher up the food chain, right at the township's leadership. Specifically, the guy in charge of the board of supervisors, Scott Badami.
Now, this is interesting. According to articles on the campaign's website, they're pointing out that while Mr. Badami is still the chair of the board, some of his other public-facing roles have changed. His bio disappeared from his law firm's site, and he's apparently no longer on the trustee list for a private academy we're used to serve.
And all of this brings us to one final, really provocative question. The story laid out in these documents isn't just about one person or one town. It makes you ask, when someone feels like the official channels just aren't working,